Hello, everyone. Welcome to our EC Riders team call. We have this call every Wednesday night, and thank you so much for joining us and spending your Wednesday evening with us. We are going to have a fantastic call tonight. We have a great special guest, a fantastic leader. She's so awesome, but I'm not going to go into any more details, and I'm not going to spoil it. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our host. If you're not familiar with this gentleman, he is an executive consultant in the business. He's been on earned his way to a 5-star trip. He's been in the business about 6 years. He's what we call financially free, which is something we're all very much looking forward to. He is a restaurant owner. He owns several barbecue restaurants. He also owns a music box company. He is a musician by trade. And he is very well-versed in business as well as, obviously, our Ambit business. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Mr. Richard Laidler. Richard,
hello, my lovely. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Fantastic. It's funny whenever I hear you talking about me being a musician and making music boxes. There I am up on stage looking like a WWE wrestler. And little do they know that I have the emotions of a ballerina. You know it, Michelle. You know it only too well. Welcome, everybody, to the call. Thank you very much for all for taking the time out to get on this call. I'm sure, actually, that a lot of the people who are on this call are because of our special guest. We are very honored to have our special guest, but we'll get to her in just a minute. Yeah, you guys up in New York, wow, it's gone past my bedtime up there. It's, 10 o'clock? Good Lord. Well, that's what I like, to see some real commitment. I can see we have some people from California as well, so you're just past lunchtime. It's easy for you guys, but you guys on the East Coast, you are getting on with it. I love it. Okay, well, as always, the EC Riders call, I want to make sure that we're really on point when it comes to giving you really good, solid information on how to build your business. We're really detail-orientated. For those of you who've seen any training that I do, I'm very specific. We don't sugarcoat here. We kind of say how it is, and we kind of give you the guidance you need to know what to do every day, rather than just saying, hey, go out there and knock them dead, or, hey, just go do what you need to do. Come on, get fired up. Let's go. I'd rather say, well, on Monday morning at 9 o'clock, this is what you need to be doing. So we're very specific in what we do. And but every now and again, we like to break that, not monotony, but we like to break the rhythm with that and bring in someone who's going to talk to us with some different insights. And the young lady I have on tonight, first of all, is a great friend of mine. So it's not someone that we kind of just picked from around the country. I kind of said to Michelle, do me a favor, let's get this particular young lady on the call, because we've become really good friends over the past few years. And she's actually, we're both ECs, but if you'll excuse my language, she's kicking my butt. She's doing great. She's as I say, EC in the business. She's got an EC in her EC code. She's been on multiple 5-star trips. I've been on one, which was really fantastic. And actually, that one, I was on that trip with Lynn and her husband. But I know she went on the one after that, and I can't remember. I think it's 2 or 3, but it's definitely multiple. And that takes some doing, let me tell you. And to meet her, you may not think, oh, wow, that's going to be someone who's going to do this or do that or do the other. She's very feminine, very modest, but she kicks butt, if I can say that. I've said the butt word twice now. I'm in so much trouble. I'm glad my mum's not on the call. Otherwise, she'll say to me, young man, no one's too old for a spec bottom. You're going straight to your room with no supper. So, without further ado, I can't say enough great things about our special guest tonight, because, as I say, she is a real special friend to me. Also, I happen to be a little biased because she is Asian and my wife is Asian too. So, hey, I'm a little flustered tonight to have a beautiful Asian girl on the call. But I cannot. I'm very delighted to bring onto the call executive consultant LIEN NGUYEN. Are you there, Lynn?
I am. Good evening. And
how about that
only
for an
you
intro?
And your gorgeous accent can get away with saying words that none of us can.
No, isn't that the truth? That's the thing, is maybe I should, at the trainings, we should have one of the trainings which is, to teach people how to speak with an English accent, because with an English accent like this, you can really mess it up. And people will be going, wow, he really knows what he's talking about. So what do you think? Maybe we should add that to the training. Do you think so?
I think so. I think we can get away with a lot more with the accent you have. You even say the word "but" and it sounds different. So
well, and that's the thing. Well, see, the thing, we don't usually say the word "but" in England. We of course say "bottom," which is you guys always laugh at me when I say that. So I try to sound a little bit more cool and use the "but" word. But anyway, we've said "but" probably 4 or 5 times now. So I am so much trouble with my mum. Anyway, so let's move on before we get any more discoloured in our conversation. Lynn, thank you so much for getting on the call today. I really appreciate it. It's I know you're super busy with your business down here and your business up in the Northeast. So for you to give us the time that you are tonight, we really appreciate that.
Absolutely. I'm so honored to be asked to be on here because I do listen to your call and your purge calls and everything, and you are just an incredible leader, and you do so much for everyone. So absolutely, anytime, you know that.
Oh, I'm blushing. All right, well, let's dive straight on in. I'm pretty sure that most people on this call know who you are, but why not, just to get things started, just non-Ambit, just kind of let everybody know about, yourself and obviously your husband and the kids. And although if they want to find out everything, you're obviously featured in the Success from Home magazine, not only on the cover next to me, but also inside with a full story in there. So if anybody wants to find out the details and see how gorgeous Lynn is as well, then check out. She's not quite the centerfold, but I think she's somewhere near it. She looks awesome in the magazine, so you can definitely find out about her and her family in there. But for those folks, because we've got people from all around the country, for those folks who maybe don't know you, why don't you tell us just a little bit about you and your family, and just so we can kind of get to know you a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. First of all, I've never done any kind of direct sales or network marketing or relationship marketing. And I think that's one of the things that I love to tell people, because automatically when they see an EC or an NC or somebody, they think that we have experience in this field. And I want to tell everybody that I don't. This is my first time ever in any kind of network relationship marketing. And I've always been one of those people who would run as soon as you come with me with anything that has a network in it. I was very traditional business, but it was just because it made so much sense not to do it. And it made so much sense to see that, you partner up this relationship network marketing with a service that everybody has to use, that I don't have to convince anybody they need, and I'm actually helping people while I'm sharing the opportunity with them. And long and behold, it just made so much sense, and I think that's when the light bulb moment came on, and I jumped in, and thank God for that, because I've been able to not only, help my family, myself and my husband, support my kids, because I have 2 beautiful kids, but Richard, my daughter, Jessica, she's 22 now, and going on 23. She's a law student at the University of Cincinnati, if that's a hint to anybody there. And she's actually a senior consultant, and she has ECs in her line, in her business. So she is actually getting paid to go to school, and it's paying for her living expense and everything for something that we started, at 18 for her. And it's an incredible business that is able to actually help put my daughter to school for something we started years ago. And
yeah, you've been a traditional business. Sorry to interrupt. You've been a traditional business owner before, Lynn. I know you've been in retail.
Absolutely, I used to own 8 retail stores. Yes.
Right, and so you and I are very similar in that state that we have both been traditional business owners. And I know a lot of people think, traditional businesses, they've got it made, they're the ones who make all the money, the employees are the ones who do all the work, and this type of thing. And you and I both know that that's not necessarily the case. But also, like you, I would run away from this type of business, a network marketing business as well. But it's such a huge switch from what we used to do to what we do now. And then you have your daughter at 23 who has a senior consultant. Because a lot of people think, oh, senior, you're making a few hundred. No. If you get ECs, like you're talking about, in your senior code, you're making great money. So talk about the difference between your traditional business life, and this new business endeavor that you're doing. Just because I want people to get a real feel for how great this business model is compared to what people think traditional business is.
Oh, my God, it's day and night, Richard. I remember owning 8 retail stores and looking in. I had this, almost 7,000 square foot home, 5-car garage, tennis courts, blah, 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 blah. My husband was an engineer for General Motors. And everybody looked in saying, wow, they had it made. But what they don't realize is the sweat, the tears, the stress, the waking up in the middle of the night thinking, oh, my God, what did I pay? Who do I pay? And because there's inventories, there's, payroll, there's landlord, there's insurance, and on and on and on and on. And whatever was left was what you get. And the crazy thing is you wake up going to work. And you think, oh, you own the stores. I had regional managers. I had, store managers and assistant managers and key holders. And I was the janitor. I was the stock girl. I did everything. And I was the one, who was last paid. It just doesn't.
And you had all the risk. You had all the risk as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I laugh when people are like, oh, my God, you and I we paid $429 to get in. And we know. Gosh, it was more than $429. It was like $2,000 just to get an architect to draw out the store, just to submit. And so I was like, really? And so, and it's just crazy. And it's so stress-free from what I used to go through. It's so stress-free. And to be able to teach it to our children that there is a smarter way of doing business is an incredible, I think that's the biggest blessing in my life, Richard, is that my kids, and you know them, are not scared to jump up there. I mean, my daughter decided to be an attorney. She is so comfortable being in front of a room. And that's because we used to throw her to do the Y at our meetings. And Pat Azanek, awesome. If she walks in, she's doing the Y, Pat Azanek. And now she's so comfortable with it. And not only that, she, recently became part of the Comma Club. And so it is incredible. And my son just turned 18. And of course, midnight, I put him in. And now he's got a business running in Dallas, a business running in Cincinnati, a business running in Boston, because I just came back from Boston. So the things that we're able to do is incredible.
Yeah, and it's so great to talk to, because I'm going to ask you questions, Lynn, that because we, as ECs, people always ask the same questions. What was it like when you got started? And what was it like this? I kind of want to be a little bit more real, which is why I was kind of just throwing you a little bit under the bus about, the situation with where you were before. I know you're very modest about the success you had in business before, and very often people will be frightened to approach you because you're a business owner. I know Michelle, who actually introduced the call tonight, she said that I would be on her chicken list, and she would never have called me if she hadn't known me as well as she did, because she'd think, oh well, we were doing well enough. But little do they know that this has been a blessing to me as much as it has been to you. What do you say to those folks who are maybe a little scared about approaching business owners or people that they feel are more successful or a little untouchable? What do you say to those folks?
I say do it. The worst thing that somebody can say to you is no, but understand that what it looks like is really not what it is. You never know what's going on with the people's lives, okay? You never know. And the thing is, it may look beautiful and all rosy out here, but inside maybe they're frustrated. Maybe they don't want to, they don't want to portray that they're not doing well. It could be emotional. It could be mental. It could be financial. You might be the next best thing that saves them. And how do you know that if you don't ask? And the worst thing they can do is say no, but what if they say yes? Business owners are the perfect, and I always go for business owners now. Business owners are there for a reason. They have the entrepreneurial mind already. And the thing that people, who are scared of approaching people who are successful, I tell them, you know what? Those are the people you need to be approaching. You have to, you have to prospect up. You have to look at people that you want to be like, and you need to share the business with them because there's a reason why they're successful. And I'm not saying discount anybody. I'm just saying you have to look for the people who are already successful because that's their sphere of influence. And to give you a perfect example, Richard, is Executive Steve Jung. He just made executive and recently, and he owns one of the most successful Thai cuisine in Dallas. He's been there for 27 years. He caters to all the hospitals and everywhere. And our kids were on the wrestling team together. I went there, just asked him to be my customer. He turned around, became his customer. And now he's actually one of the executives that's under my daughter. And he jokes around about it because when he made executive, she called him to congratulate him. He goes, great, now go buy some books and get your butt to studying. Because, I just paid for some of it. And so we have that kind of relationship, And then senior consultant Joe Lara, she'll call him up and say, hey, when are you going to get to executive? I need more books. And so, it is. And Joe owns, a real estate company. He owns a remodeling company, a roofing company. And most people are like, oh, he's too, busy and successful. But no, those are the people you absolutely go for.
So, but here's the thing, Lynn, that you're absolutely right, and I agree with you, and you and I as business owners may not feel that resistance to asking. And just to add to what you were saying, by the way, I've asked both Chris Atkinson and Frank Schmaling, who's your national, I've asked them both the same question, what would they have done differently when they first started? And both of them said, I'd recruit leaders. I would recruit business owners and people who are leaders in the business. But that being said, that's a very easy thing to say, Lynn, and I'm going to throw you under the bus a little bit again, and we can kind of to and fro on this a little bit. But it's a nice thing to say, go get business owners. But the big question is how. Let's say you're a 28-year-old, you've been to college, you're working. You're working, regular job, making $35,000 a year, and there's, a friend of yours, dad, owns a business, and you think, God, he would be great at this. How would you suggest someone who is maybe not experienced, maybe someone who a business owner might look at and say, well, what do you know about business? How would you suggest that people approach those business owners?
Oh, I love that question because I actually am still using it. I edify that person. I tell them, look, I respect you, and I think you're such an incredible and successful person, and that's why I'm coming to you. I'm asking for your advice. If you could just give me 15 minutes, if you can just look at my website and tell me what you think, give me your honest opinion on it. And that's it. And I ask them to, I don't ask them to take a look, and I don't try to sell them on the business or ask them anything. I just ask them for advice because they are successful. Successful people love to give to advice because you just edified them. You told them that you looked up to them. They're wonderful, successful, and ask them just to help. And it's so funny, ladies, if you're on this call, and guys, you can do it, but not in the way that I'm going to teach the ladies to do it. But I have gone up to older gentlemen who I know are extremely successful, and I just go up and I said, Mr. Aziz was one of the gentlemen I did at the health club. I said, Mr. Aziz, I so look up to you, and I know the crazy businesses that you run and how wonderful you're doing and how crazy busy you are. Could you please just do me a huge favor? I have a website, and I'm contemplating whether it's good, whether I like it, whether I should use it. Can you just take a look at it and just give me your honest opinion?
Even on the phone, my heart's melting, and you're batting your eyelids at as you do it, right? I know you.
Well, you just kind of make one of these little, could you just please, and guys, I know you're not going to say please, but you can say it in a manly way, hey, I really respect what you're doing out there, and could you just take a look and just tell me if you like my website or not? But girls, Oh my God, you can get anybody to look at it just by saying that. All right?
It is absolutely the truth. And that is, for those who don't know, that's how I was brought into the business, is a friend of mine who was also a business owner. He wasn't kind of like intimidated the fact that I was a business owner, but he knew that he'd done network marketing before. I had a bad, a feeling towards these types of businesses. And he said, Rich, I want you to take a look at this business because I'm going to ask your son, because I know he's looking for something to do. But, obviously with you being his dad, you need to check it out for him first. Totally appealing to my ego because, of course, us chaps have a huge ego. And he said, just take a look and, see if it'll suit him or not, and maybe you can advise him and stuff. And of course, I looked, and again, exactly like you're talking about, and a business owner will see it or not. It'll be either immediate or not, and that's the other great thing. I looked at the business, I'm like, God, yeah, absolutely, he should do this business, and I'm going to get in and I'm going to sponsor him. So it really works very, very well, and that's really good advice on that, Lynn.
Yeah, and he looked at it. He looked at it, and the first thing he said to me was, so what do you want me to do to help you? Because he knew after he saw it, right? And I just laughed, and I was just like, I said, I was hoping you'd ask that. And I said, first of all, would you consider, being my business partner and maybe helping me expand in territories that I don't know how to? And then he says yes or no, and I said, okay, well, that's fine. I respect that. But, hey, would you know anybody that would? He goes, you know what? Let me think about that. I said, I really need help because I'm in expansion mode, and I know how great you are. If you can just think of some names and just make the introductions for me. And there you go, right? And after I make that introduction, if I get somebody to do it, I just did this recently, so I'm waiting for the outcome. I'll let you know. But when I do get to this person, I'm, of course, going to go back to Ms. Azin and say, you know what, you're absolutely right. This person's in. So do I just go ahead and put him under you and work it for you, or what do you want me to do? And there you go. And, and then in the meantime, I said, you know what? Actually, on another note, tomorrow, can you, maybe bring me your electric bill? and you know what? He swims every day, so he brings it in a Ziploc bag, and he waits for me, and he hands me the Ziploc, with a bill in it. So it was
I love it.
Awesome. Yeah, he's awesome.
Lynn, you make it sound, because you're so sweet, and you're kind of like, oh, well, take a look, and you keep it so light, but it is absolutely stuffed with skill that people don't realize. And again, male or female, when you ask someone, who is maybe, as I say, you look up to them, and ask for an opinion, and you're humble, and your eyebrows are raised, and kind of like I really want to learn. People are so willing to help, and again, the right person will look at this and just join the business. But I want to move on a little bit because it's not always been great, Lynn. I know when I first started, I was doing it all wrong. Again, I'm going to ask you the questions that people don't like to ask. When you first got started, all right, as you're a skillful business person, 8 retail stores that's no mean feat. That is a very highly skilled person has to do that. But now you start a network marketing business. You don't know what you're doing. You've got Frank Schmeling, who's upline from you to guide and help, but how did you get on? Because there's a lot of new people on the call. I know some of the names. There's a lot of new people, brand new MCs, and some of them are kind of just like finding their way around. How was it at the beginning for you? And just to give those people some hope that we didn't all get it right straight away.
Oh my God, absolutely not. And Frank Schmeling is an incredible gift to me, but I didn't connect with Frank until about 3 years ago, and I've been in business for 5 years. So I struggled, and I did everything wrong for 2 years. So, but you know what? That's a great thing about it. Guys, you can fail to senior consultant. I did. And you can still fail to senior consultant, but you'll get there as long as you just don't quit. And I think that's the crazy thing. And I did it all wrong. I was, what we say, vomit on people. I tell people I talk way too much. I'm too excited. I think I know it all because this is easier than retail. No, it's not. It's not easier than retail. Retail, you buy, you sell, and people want it, but they don't. This is really selling yourself. It has, when I figured out, it has really nothing to do with electricity because everybody already has it. It has to do with you. It has to do with me. You're selling yourself. You're selling a concept, a dream, something that you have to believe in. And that's what really matters, having to believe in it and believe in yourself. When you can do that, you can pretty much talk to anybody as long as you do it from the heart and keep it real. People know if you're robotic and if it's a script. Make it real. Adapt it to what you are going on with you. And, yeah, I failed. I failed miserably. I came in, and let me tell you, within the first 3 weeks, I almost quit, okay? And I'm not a quitter. And I got in, and I figured, 4 customers, piece of cake, no problem. And I couldn't be my customer because I was already somebody else's customer, right? I was a friend of mine. I was her customer for 9 months, so I couldn't be my own customer. I needed 4 customers, and I had to prove that I can do it. I called up a handful of people. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, no. Oh, I can't do that. And the 2 that says yes, one was in co-serve and one was in a contract. I was like deflated. And then I had a sure thing. You had a sure thing? I connected with my brother. Now, my brother, who paid for my whole entire education, in college, said no. And I was floored. He said no to me. He paid for me to go to a private college, DePaul University, and he said no, he wouldn't be my customer. He said no, the rate's going to go up. I don't trust it. No way. And
isn't that amazing? I think a lot of people at the beginning, they go to their family and they have these dead certs and they get the no's, or someone's, how many times when you have someone just get started, Lynn, they say, oh, everyone's in a contract, or they're in everyone's in a co-serve, or my family say no. Exactly what you just said. All 3 of them were all of the excuses, not excuses, but the things that sometimes take people out way too early in the business. And
it almost took me out. Absolutely. Right. It almost took me out. And I have to thank the one person that kept me in it. It was my husband's friend from work who told my husband to come home and tell me that I would fail. It's a scam. Get out. And that was the turning point, because I knew this gentleman. I said, how dare he tell me whether or not I'm going to fail? And, he's telling me to quit. That was when it really kicked me. And I said, I'm going to find those 4 customers if it kills me. And I had 5 days left. So I went to, my kids were in martial arts. I went there and I pretty much stalked the parents there. Okay. I stalked one guy. I stalked one dad who says, okay, let me give you my bill, to a point where he went to a comic store. I went to the comic store and stalked him. And I stopped him there. I said, I'm not letting you leave without giving me that bill.
Wow.
And he actually handed it to me. He pulled it up, handed it to me. And the funniest thing was, it's not because he didn't want to. He just didn't know it was important to me.
Right. Oh, okay.
Unless you make it so clear that you had a deadline. I said, no, I need a deadline. You're not leaving until you give me that. Because I was in such a zone that I had to get it done, that when I said that, he goes, oh, why didn't you tell me? Here, let me get it. People, guys, light bulb. They don't know it's important to you unless you make it urgent and let them know it's important to them. Just because you ask them, you're not bothering them. Just say, hey, it's really important to me. I have a deadline. And so my first bill, okay, so I got the first customer, and then my husband was my second customer, and then my neighbor became my 3rd customer. I said, yes, I'm on a roll. I need 1 more. So I went back to that dear brother of mine, and I wrote him a dear bro letter. And one of these days I'm going to print it out. This was 5 years ago. I said, dear bro, this is your sister. This is my new business. You will be my customer, or you're not going to see me, my kids, my dogs, or my goldfish ever again. And I said, P.S., love you, sis. And boom, send it out in email. Boom, instant come back to the rudest, most obnoxious sales girl ever. Here's my information. Call me, whatever you need. Love you, bro.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
And you know what? It's because he didn't know how important. I was trying to sell him. Yeah. Oh, I can save you money. I can give you this. I can give you that. He says no. And he lives in his house that's with a elevator. So I knew how big his bill was. And I knew I can save him money. But it wasn't important to him until I told him, without a doubt, he had to be my customer because it was important to me, that he didn't even ask about the rate. He said, go for it. And so I did everything wrong. I was selling. I was selling and selling and selling, and I did everything wrong. I stacked, I put people in, and I just on and on and on. So regardless of what you do wrong, you can always start today. You start now.
Now,
you plug
isn't that
in
interesting? That's a really interesting point. You're saying that is because if I do things wrong too often in my restaurants, or you do things wrong too often in your retail stores, you'll go out of business. People will stop coming. People will stop buying from you. With this, you can't fail. You can't fail. The only way you can, the only way you can not succeed with this is to quit. You can mess it up, and say the wrong things, but you can never actually fail. You can only quit. Yeah, very interesting. Well, here's my next question. So that's Lynn, the girl who's getting started and learning her way. What made the difference? How did you? There you were for a couple of years probably. I know I used to see you at the trainings. I used to see you at the meetings. But what was the change from that girl who's kind of like staring in the headlights, trying to learn what to do, to the girl who now has so much skill? You make it look so easy. It's like watching a snooker player or a tennis player. They're just like, oh, that's easy, but it's not. So how did you get from that early stage, which a lot of people on this call are in, to a stage of some competence? Maybe not to the skill level you're at now, because I think that's just pure time and experience. But how did you learn what to do?
Richard, my light bulb moment is when I was so frustrated that I still remember that day. I was so frustrated, and I know you've heard this. I was hung up on. I was told I was going to fail miserably, that I was scamming people, and I was stood up by, and it was all by lunchtime. Okay, this is all by noon. And I was so frustrated. My husband was with me, and I kind of lost faith on that. And I was like, whoa, he's kind of believing me in my business, and here I am getting all these things happening. It was at that moment when I decided that I would never, ever have a bad Ambit day ever again. So I told him after lunch, where I was stood up, I said, take me to the restaurant, that wrestler's dad. That was Steve Jung. I said, take me there. I'm going to at least get a customer if it kills me. Mm-hmm. So when I got there, and of course he turns into becoming consultant, and then, all his history. But it was the moment when you decide that you're not going to fail anymore, and that you're not going to have a bad Ambit day anymore. And then that evening, I sat there and I said, oh, let's see. I pulled up my Power Zone, and I looked and I said, oh, National Consultant Frank Schmeling. I saw him at one of the meetings, and he says that if I need help to reach out to him. So I reached out to him. So find your, senior consultant, find your executive, find your national, and reach out to them. So I reached out to him, and I just texted him. I said, are you a man of your word? And he didn't know me from Adam. Can you imagine me saying this to Frank Schmeling? And he's like, excuse me, who's this? And I said, you don't know me, but are you a man of your word, and are you going to help me?
I love it.
And you plug in. When you are so sick of failing, and you are so determined to succeed, and you reach out for help, and you take that help to heart, and you do what you're asked to do, and you plug in, and you get on the calls, you get to the meetings, and then that's when you really start seeing me around, Richard, and you start seeing me going to meetings, whether or not I have anybody, I'm there. It's because I'm there for me. You have to lead by example, and you have to learn while you're there. And I think that was the turning moment, when you first have to decide you're sick of failing, you're sick of not getting where you want to be, and you need to surround yourself with people that are successful, and you learn and you soak and you absorb from them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's very much the key. At the very beginning, there was the training center over in Irving. And I was there, I would go to all the business presentations, and all the trainings that I could, and you'd hear the same thing over and over again, and people, and faces would come and go, but there were always a certain group of people, and you could probably, if we wrote a list of those names, we'd come up with exactly the same names who were there as RCs and as SCs and are now all ECs in the business, because we just kept turning up. You know, it wasn't because we necessarily had a guest. It wasn't because, you know, every time we went, we had a whole load of new stuff. We just learned a little trick there or a little trick there, and as much as that, it was just the fact that Ambit was getting in you. You know, it wasn't just you were doing something. You actually became part of your system. And just as you were saying on with the customers, instead of making it about them, make it about you. You know, you hear the phrase all the time, you know, Ambit's really, really easy to do right, but it's just as easy to do wrong. And that would be a classic example. Don't make it about them, make it about you. It took you 3 seconds to say it, but it transforms the way that you're going to win customers. And so I think you're absolutely right. I think the plugging in was where it was all about, and those same people are still going.
Absolutely.
They're still at all of the meetings. Yep. All right. Well, let's move on a little further, because now here we are. You were learning. You overcame your issues and plugged into your upline with Frank, and Frank, as you say, Frank's a super guy, extremely knowledgeable, and he is one heck of an accountability partner for sure. Now you're an EC, okay? So we're going to cut through you failed to SC, but I know you succeeded to EC because you were doing it right. Now you're an EC, and you have you have ECs in your SC code, I'm assuming, and I know you have a brand new EC in your EC code who's in a different state. So
yes.
Talk about that a little bit. How does one build a business? Like there'll be some people on the call who have friends up in the Northeast, or those who are in the call. You heard there's some people up there in New York and New Jersey and stuff. They may have people down here. How do they build a business in a different state?
Okay. How I actually met this gentleman was I had a new consultant in Dallas. And mind you, this new consultant didn't even want to be a consultant at first until I persisted. And I actually chased him to his office where he worked because he wasn't answering my calls. And I cornered him in his office and I got him to sign up. Okay. So, and then I started working with him. But then I heard that Massachusetts was open, and I remembered him saying something about him going to Massachusetts. And I said, hey, who do you know in Massachusetts? He goes, oh, I got a brother who lives up there. And I said, great, let's talk to him. Well, he reached out to his brother, who's an engineer, and said, no, I don't want to do this. I'm an engineer. I'm not doing this. And so I said, just get him on the phone with me. And got us on a three-way, and I said, okay, I know you're an engineer. This is not you, but will you at least help your brother out? Give me some names. Help me just, give me some names, do some referrals, okay? At least can you do that much? And he did. We were able to find a couple people who said yes. And so I went back to him. I said, okay, so I've got a couple people who said yes. Do you want me to put him under you, or should I just go ahead and put it on your brother and we can run it this way? So, of course, the fear of loss. He came in, and he couldn't gather customers at that time because it hasn't been, open yet. So we actually helped him with customers down here in Dallas. Mm-hmm. So once that got started, it was one of these things where I told him I had to talk to him every single day. And so it went from once a day, until the activities came to where we were talking 2-3 times a day. And then I would set goals for him to meet. And I said, okay, you need to do this, you need to do that, you have to hit. And I told him that he had to fast track. You have to fast track. That means you have to promote and promote quickly. Okay? It is speed over strategy, people. I don't care what people tell you. It is speed over strategy, because if you don't talk to somebody, somebody else will. So it is about speed. So we fast-tracked, and we fast-tracked him, and then we fast-tracked. It is about fast-tracking all the people in his organization to RC. And I think that was my thing, was everybody who gets in, that there's a pulse, we're going to get them fast-tracked to RC. And once that started moving, and I told him, hey, if you guys, I remember saying, if you come down to, he was just an RC, he was a regional consultant at that time. I said, if you come down to Ambition, I will go up there with you afterwards. And he did. He came down in Mission. He brought maybe 2-3 people. And the following week, I went up there to work with them. And so I went up there and I stayed there for about 3-4 days, and we worked the market a little bit. And I came back, and I said, okay, if you will promote to senior, I will come back up. And they did. He promoted to senior, and I flew back up. But it is the constant communication. It is the constant, just who can we talk to? Who can you put on the phone with me? And let's get your customers. Let's do this. Let's do that. And you give them goals that they have to reach. And not only that, but you as a leader have to give them some incentives as to why they're doing it. And my incentive is, hey, if you hit this mark by this day, I will book my ticket and fly up there and give you 4 days. And I was doing that. And I know it sounds crazy. A lot of people aren't willing to do that, but really, how much are you sacrificing for your business? If you have to cut out of that comfort zone, you have to be doing that if you want to build this incredible business. And, I didn't want to leave my family. I didn't really want to leave my kids and my mom and my dad. You know how my parents are elder, but you just had to do what you had to do, and you have to take the initiative, and you just have to work. It's constant communication. It's giving them the fast track. It's giving them the tools they need. It's plugging in with them, giving them goals, and following through and getting there to help them.
There's a lot of that. That's about 5 minutes of speaking right there, Lynn. And I am going to post this call onto the EC Riders Facebook page. In that 5 minutes, guys, of you who are listening, there was pretty much every gem you'll ever need to build a business. And if you've got a pen and a paper, I was scribbling down notes while you were talking, Lynn, that here are the key points that I think you really made were so valuable to you. First of all, the who do you know? The fact that you said, the guy was like, well, I'm maybe not interested. Or no, you had someone in the business and you said, you heard about Maryland. You said, who do you know in Maryland? Guys, if you've got pen and paper, write that question down. Who do you know? Because that's how to find someone in other states, because you may not know them there. The other thing that was really interesting was there are people in this business, as you know, that some of them are builders and some of them are connectors. And what you identified brilliantly was you had this introduction to a guy who he said, I'm not interested in the business, but he could connect you. And so he wasn't going to build a business, but he could connect you, and you never know when that's going to go. And then you did a beautiful job of saying, okay, they're going to join the business. Do you want me to put them underneath you? Or do you want me to just put them underneath your brother? And you created the fear of loss. So, guys, write down who do you know, builders and connectors, and fear of loss. And then what you did was you created incredible momentum. I was getting chills as you were talking about it, how wonderful you were saying about, daily calls. Absolutely. How big I am on accountability. Totally believe in that. Setting the expectations and giving them an incentive, and setting the expectation that everyone's going to fast track. Why not? Why not? It's a challenge to do, but everyone can do it. And that was, guys, I'm going to post this on EC Riders, so you can listen to that again. That one paragraph, 5 minutes that Lynn was talking about, listen to it again, because it's full of everything you need to know in the business on that one.
And
Thank you very much for Lynn. That was awesome.
Richard, you know what's crazy, Richard? That gentleman I was talking about, he fast-tracked to executive consultant from the day he started to the day he made EC was 13 months.
That's just. And was he necessarily a rock star, or just someone who plugged in and had a leader
no,
who was making sure he was doing something every day?
No, he was an engineer. He doesn't want to sell. He don't want to talk to anybody.
Right.
But he
and I'm telling you,
found out how.
But this is the thing, is everybody says, oh, find the rock stars, find the rock stars. Lynn, I think we can make them. I think we can make rock stars. I think there's people out there that have, what we do is real simple. Gather a handful of customers, help some others do the same. How much of a rock star truly do you need to be to do that? You don't need to be a rock star. You just need someone like yourself to give you the basic details that you need to do it. By the way, Lynn, just so you know, I'm getting texts left, right, and center about this being one of the best calls yet. So I am so happy that I'm asking you the right questions. I'm going to take the credit for the questions. You can take the credit for the responses. Okay, well, we are 45 minutes into the call. So I kind of want to start wrapping things up. We've obviously got a lot of women on the call, and I know you're very passionate about helping women find confidence that they maybe don't have the same as men do. What would you say to the girls on the call? Because we've got a lot of girls on this call.
I am very passionate about helping women, and because I just came back from this women empowering women trip with Regina Gale and Miriam Weddle, and one of the things I spoke on is you never know what's going to happen. And I teach this to my daughter, and that's, I said, even if you're in a great marriage, and people, guys, I'm in a great marriage. I've been married for 28 years to a great provider, a great husband, but you never know. What if something happens and you're left because you have been a mom, or you have taken time out to be a mom, and now you're left with no husband, nobody to care for, and you have kids, or you don't have kids, or you're by yourself. But you have to take that initiative, and you have to never, ever, ever count on anybody. Not that they're not, they're not great, but you have, as a female, we have to do something for ourselves. I'm so passionate about it. And one of the great things about female is we can get away with so much more. And I'm not saying it to be, a feminist or whatever it is. Guys, ladies, seriously. And Richard, you heard me at the last training. We're natural inviters. We invite ladies to use the bathroom together. So there's no reason why we cannot invite somebody to take a look at a business. We just have to get over that shyness, that unsureness, and just do it. Just do it. And you know what? We are naturally good at network marketing. I was not ever like this before. And I just found out that you have to become passionate of what you do. The thing that females have is the passion, okay? We are passionate creatures. And if we can somehow channel that passion into our business and into whatever it is we do, whether it's getting a customer, because, I found that out the day I ran to this dry cleaning, and I literally say, I need a customer, like right now, can you help me? And she looked at me and she goes, what? And the owner, she goes, why? And I said, because I need it, because do you remember when we got in, it was 6 months. We only had 6 months to get free energy, and I wanted really, really bad for my mom. So I ran in her. I said, I need one right now. Right now. Because I was passionate and I was panicked mode. And she said, okay. And she goes, and then she gave me one. She goes, how much more do you need? And she actually gave me 3. She called her mom, because she's a lady, and she felt my passion, and she felt how important it was to me. So, ladies, we have that, and we have that in other females. So if you can tap into that, just that passion and just the real you and what you're trying to accomplish, nobody's going to say, no, I'm not going to look at it when you say, look, I'm trying to do something with my life for myself and my kids and not depend on anybody. Will you please take a look at this? Who's going to say no? They may say no, it's not for them, but they're not going to say no to not looking at it. Be passionate and just ask.
Yeah, I love it. And we definitely need some more ECs. When we're doing the EC testimonials of the business presentation, obviously you're always there. And that we do have some new ones more recently, but we definitely need to keep up with the guys up there as well. Plus, we need some more American ECs. I always joke when I go up there, I look at sometimes at the lineup, and we have a lot of South Asian, obviously, you're Vietnamese, I'm English, and we have 1 or 2 Americans. Come on, guys, step up. We need some American girls and guys as well, so we can have kind of a good mix, male, female, people from the country, people from abroad, and the full mix there. But okay, well, here we go. One last. I'm going to kind of leave the floor to you. We've got a lot of people on this call. Some are long in the tooth, been doing this a long time. We've got some ECs on this call listening to you who've been making some great comments, and we have some new people who are on the call. one final thing. What would you say to everybody? I'm super excited about what's happening with Ambit in its future. What's your kind of closing comment for those folks who are listening in on the call right now?
I would say today is the beginning of whatever it is you decide to do for the rest of your life. And you've heard me talk about writing your book, and I think it's really important. If you can do nothing else for your life right now, if you could just sit down and whatever has happened in the past is the beginning of your book, where you are now is the present, is the body of your book, and the ending is what you want to accomplish. Decide what kind of ending you want for your life, whether it's a happily ever after, a Disney one, or a horror movie, or a comedy. Decide what your happy ending is, and I hope it's all a happy ending. And I say, your body is now your action. Do whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes. This is the vehicle. It's just beginning. Guys, the next 10 years in this business will blow your mind, and it'll take you for a ride to where you want to be at the end of your life and the end of your book. But you have to get on board, and you have to work like you're crazy, and you have to get there, and then you'll be able to sit back and enjoy and live the life you've always meant to live.
Perfect. I can't. Again, I know some of the people on this call who say, I've been doing this for so long, and I've either had my business isn't growing as fast as I want. And what I love what you were saying was that was the past. As from today forwards is brand new, and that really does resonate very, very well. I couldn't have put it better myself. Absolutely perfect. Like you, I know I've got a feeling. I was chatting actually to Philip Eckard fairly recently, and he was talking about, Richard, you have no idea what's coming. And it's already been great. I mean, good Lord, we're, fastest growing company in the country. We beat any other network marketing company, get to $1 billion in 7 years. The closest one still in business was Herbalife, did it in 23 years. I mean, we've already had something so great. And someone like Philip Eckard, who's already had major success, is already making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, is telling me, Richard, you have no idea what's coming. So I agree with you 100%. Work this like your hair's on fire. I already did, and so I don't have to get to work. I'm gonna have to get a wig and maybe work with like my wig's on fire.
I'll go wig shopping with you.
Perfect. You wear a blonde wig, and I'll wear a nice like tight curly perm wig. What do you think?
No, I see you as a redhead.
We should definitely do that. Lynn, thank you so much for taking so much time out. This call's gone on a little bit, but I didn't want to cut it short. It was full of so much great information. Thank you so much for getting on the call. I know you're super busy, and for you to spend this much time with us, I really, really do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Good night.
Indeed. Thank you very much. Okay, well, we're gonna bring the call to a close. I'm gonna bring Michelle back on. Michelle, we don't have time to go through all of the business presentations, so just to close out the call with where they can find out about the business presentations and a repeat of the training that's coming up. That'd be wonderful. Guys, thank you so much for getting on the call. A great turnout tonight. Thank you very much, and I think it was well worth it. And as I say, I'm going to be posting this up on the EC Riders Facebook page for those of you who want to listen to it again. And as I say, 100% of it was great stuff, but that one section in there was full of everything you need to know. It was absolutely gem-filled. So thank you again so much, Lynn. I'm going to bring the lovely senior consultant, Michelle Schaefer, who actually was the one who was re-coaching me on the builders and connectors. So I'm sharing her training to me. So we all train each other. We all help each other out in this business. So I'm going to pass back to you, Michelle. If you could see everybody out of the call, that would be wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Richard. And thank you, Lynn. That was awesome. Fantastic information. Just to let everybody know,